We do not want to get successful to avoid problems. We want to, as Jim Rohn says, for things to get better, we have to get better. We have to get better at handling bigger problems. So when a problem comes up, you go, I got this one, bring it to me. Not, oh, I can't get this one. When I did some of my first real estate deals 20-something years ago, man, it was a heavy lift to make $5,000. Oh my God. What I had to go through and the stress and the worry and big problems to solve to make $5,000, which is amazing. Here's what I realized. It's the same energy to close a $5 million deal and a $50 million deal. It's the same. So if I'm gonna solve problems, the bigger the problems you solve, the more success you have. If you don't want to solve any problems, zero, you could go get a 9-to-5 job working maybe in an assembly line. Zero problems to solve. Is that what you want? And would you do that for even a lot of money? Would anybody do it for 150 grand a year, just sit on an assembly line and go, oh, I take this, I put it here. Would any of you do that? But man, to go invent the assembly line, that's a pain in the ass. Invent innovation, flow. Someone solved the problem of the assembly line. That guy's a multimillionaire. If we want more success, we do not want to avoid problems. We become a problem lover. We just want to solve bigger problems. How's that for a shift in your mindset?
Need motivation?
Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because in my first business, I struggled to believe in myself. I quit on my business partner. And the thing that saved me was watching the successful stories of entrepreneurs. They gave me the inspiration to keep going, as well as the strategies of what to do. And quite honestly, I still need their stories and motivation today as well. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Dean Graziosi, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2 is build your confidence.
How many times have you been doing something you didn't like and then someone says, hey, do you want to go do it? I watch this with kids, right? My son can be like, oh, Dad, I'm bored. I'm a little tired. I'm like, you want to go outside and play basketball? Heck yeah, let's go do it. Let's play horse. I'm going to beat you. Immediately, his energy went through the roof. I didn't feed him anything. I didn't give him any coffee. I didn't give him a speed pill or a Red Bull. I just changed what was on, and his energy immediately changed. Guess what? That energy lives in us. It's always there. We just have to tap into it. And what I'd say, just start practicing tapping into that energy. Just like be doing something in your house or at work and just say, right now, I'm going to crank up the energy. And you can think about what you're cool at. You can think about your state, change your physiology, change your words. Do what it takes to like snap into a different place and watch the confidence go up. Watch it go up immediately and watch your energy go up. Again, I do it as like little tricks to myself. I'll find myself low in energy. I'm like, create some right now. Just make it. And the more you do it, the more you train yourself. It's like going to a gym, right? You know, go to a gym once and work out and come out ripped. You got to go to the gym all the time. Where in your life can more confidence take you to another level? Where can more confidence give you a breakthrough? If that's the case, then you need to watch this again and you need to go through these exercises and you need to find that confidence to just go for it, to just do it. It is better to try and fail than to sit on the sidelines. Sitting on the sidelines, you know, when you talk to older people, you read all these articles and magazines. When you talk to somebody older in their life, they're always regretting on the things they didn't take action on. Lack of confidence will keep you right where you are. Routines help build confidence, right? So there's a million things I could talk about when it comes to confidence. How you have to be courageous. That means taking action. Courageous is just doing it. It's jumping out of the plane and hoping the chute opens, right? You need to be courageous. Then you need to gain the capabilities, right? You need to learn from people playing at a higher level. You're here. You're learning the right stuff. Then you got to be committed. Nothing works without commitment. I mean, diets don't work. Relationships don't work. You got to commit, right? So when you have the courage, the capabilities, and the commitment, that's when confidence ends up showing up, the 4 C's. I go deep on that in my book. But what also helps that is a little hack, is routines, right? So you want to know the best way for me to kill my confidence in a day is to wake up and roll over and check my email. Yes, I have so many businesses going on. One of those emails is not going to be great. So if I want to ruin my confidence for a day, I roll over and I'll check my email and I'll go, oh man, I got to deal with that today. Okay, I'll be all right. Like, I know I talk myself out of it. You want to know how I can definitively know I'll have more confidence in a day is I put my phone on airplane mode and I don't touch it. I don't look at it until I go work out, until I think of some things I'm grateful for, until I drink my green drink with some oils in it. If I do those things and then I practice a little gratitude, I set my day up for just confidence. So sometimes routines can be your hack to be fine. Again, use anything in your power to find a way to gain confidence. Hacks are fine as long as you're doing it.
Rule number 3 is think innovatively.
I don't know how to start a company that's not making money and raise a whole bunch of capital and use other people's money to see if you make it work. Now, I'm not knocking that at all. It's because I'm limited on my knowledge on that. That's it. I'm just not smart enough to know how to do it. And I have so many friends that are in Silicon Valley, and everybody's fighting to come up with the next thing, the next widget, the next app, the next Facebook, the next Instagram. They're fighting for that. And a lot of these companies will go raise 20, 30, 50 million. Some of them raise 400 million before they've made $1, before they've made a penny. And then I look at, now, again, I'm not knocking this. I don't want to seem like I'm bitter. I have so many successful friends that their families were successful, and they just carried it on. That's what I want with my kids. I don't want to have to make my kids suffer. I want to teach them the right values so they take on what I've done and start off where I left off, right? But just think about if everything went smooth. You weren't an underdog. Nothing went wrong in your childhood. Perfect parents, perfect income, perfect location. Then you went to the perfect college. And then when you got out of the perfect college, you had the money to start a company. I've watched this happen. Sometimes when you have money to start a company, you're setting yourself up for failure because you don't need it to cash flow. So I'm going to use this one example, this one thought process is every company I've ever started. I sold firewood in high school, fixed wreck cars out of high school, fixed wreck cars for business, fixed wreck cars to sell, and then I started buying rundown houses and remodeling them and putting apartments in them, and then I started subdividing land and building houses, and then I went in the education business, and then the book business, and the live event business, and then, sharing now in masterminds and trainings like this, right? As I went through all those companies, never once in any of them did anyone ever give me money to start. So guess what I had to be? Unfair advantage number 3. I had to be innovative. I had to create cash flow, profitable companies. So now what you could say is, oh man, I have nobody in my family that's got money. I have nobody that's got faith in me to lend me money. I can't get any money from the bank. Damn it, I can't go in business. Or you can say, I have no money. Banks won't give me money. I have no friends that'll lend it to me, no partners. I gotta be innovative. I gotta find ways to cash flow right away. My company's cash flow 2 weeks, 3 weeks into the company, because I have to. That's how I grow everything. But that started because I was a broke kid with nothing. Now I know no other way. I'm gonna launch 2 new companies you'll see over the next 6 months, gonna blow your mind. One partner with a great dude in the fitness world, and something else that I gotta wait and tell you when it's done. But both of those companies, I could fund both of them with millions of dollars, just being honest. I'm not. I'm using the same model, that same innovativeness, that's the word, being innovative, coming up with unique ways to say, no, I'm not one of those guys that's gonna run a company for 5 years and get a great evaluation and hope this, I don't know how to do that. I was an underdog with nothing, and I had to use that to my advantage, and that advantage turned it into, I had to find a way to be innovative, I keep using that word, to be cash flow right away or I would be broke. So now, take that underdog disadvantage and make it your underdog advantage. You don't have money, and if you don't think you can make something work without using money, then Google people that have. Google Richard Branson, Tony Robbins, me, so many successful people started with nothing. I know you might be facing stuff that I don't even know about. I get that. But here's what I know. Did you ever have a headache and you go online and you Google for what could this headache be? And by the time you're done, you feel like you got a tumor and you got 3 months to live, right? We find what we were looking for. If you went online with the headache and wanted to search for someone that said, you just didn't have enough water, drink a glass, you'll be fine, you could find that in 2 minutes. But our brains want to go towards the tumor and what could be worst case scenario. So we do that in our own lives. Like, I don't have any money. Look, my friend tried with no money. It didn't work. You're just searching for what went wrong. Your subconscious is looking for security so you can feel safe about your inaction. Get disturbed, get uncomfortable. Go online and Google and find successful people who started with nothing, that had massive fear, that were scared. And all of a sudden you'll see all these people, all these millionaires, all these great, hugely successful people that started with nothing. And all of a sudden you start building momentum, and then you say, I'm gonna create innovation here. I'm gonna create cash flow. We're talking about business, but could that be the same in every area of your life? Of course it can. So think of the unfair advantage we have of being an underdog because we get to be creative.
Rule number 4 is develop courage.
Think of the strongest belief or the thought or the story. The belief, the story, the thought, whatever, we all have different terminology, something that loops in your head. Think of the one that when you think about it or say it, you feel invincible. I'm meant for more. I'm meant for more. I could do more. I could be more. I know I failed in the past, but all that is research and development to be the man or the woman I'm supposed to be. I feel it. I know I can do it. I've accomplished a lot. I can do this. Right? There's those feelings, those thoughts we have where you feel on fire. You feel invincible. Do those thoughts make you feel good? Do those thoughts make you feel empowered? Do those thoughts make you have more confidence? Before confidence, screw confidence. Before confidence comes courage. You don't get confidence unless you have the courage to actually do it, right? So what are the thoughts? What's a thought you have or a story you have that makes you feel courageous? What's a thought you have that makes you feel brave? Put it in your journal, right? What makes you feel brave? What makes you feel alive? What makes you feel like an invincible, unstoppable woman? What makes you feel like a courageous man, right? If those thoughts, if those thinking makes you feel courageous and brave and gets you to move, gets you disturbed with inaction, then why aren't you having those thoughts more? Why aren't you writing them down on your mirror in your bathroom or putting them as your screensaver? Or set an alarm in your phone 3 times a day and it rings. You know, you could set an alarm in your iPhone, I know at least, where when it goes off, you could write words in it. So whatever that thought is, I'm invincible, I survived, I'm nonstop. I can do anything I put my mind to. Why not have your alarm go off 3 days a week and freaking remind you of that? Why not? How often do we have to sell ourselves to reach our goals? Like pretty much every day. So what are the thoughts that make you feel empowered? Not only have more of them, how do you remind yourself to have more of them? Make sense? What are the thoughts, the beliefs, or the story that disempowers you? That fuels imposter syndrome? That fuels self-doubt? You know how many women I've met and they'll say, I just felt like I was really good at being a stay-at-home mom. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I was home this weekend for the holiday. I was home Saturday all day, and I said to my wife, let's not have any help, anybody, or let's just be with our kids. I got done with the day. I'm like, holy shit, I'd love to start 7 more businesses than try. Like, I could never stay home with just my 2 children. I am humanly not qualified. I run 2 businesses, 400 employees. I get to do all this stuff. I could never be a kick-ass stay-at-home mom. That is like, I'm only a stay-at-home mom. Are you kidding me? That is the hardest job in the history of the world, and with the least amount of thank yous. Like, it is the most selfless act that exists. But is that your belief? I'm just a stay-at-home mom. I'm just a worker bee. Like, I'm just a guy that, you know, I do my job good, but that's good. Or I'm too old for this. You know, you got to be good on technology. Or I'm too young. Who would believe me? I'm not an expert. I don't have a following. You know how hard it is to get a following on social media these days? And you don't do shit without a following. So I should just be lucky with where I'm at. Or mine, when I was a kid, when I was 15, I used to think, man, it takes money to make money. I was born on the wrong side of the tracks. I can't be successful. You got to be rich. You got to go to school. You got to have credentials. I barely got out of high school. Who the hell is going to want to, how could I start a business? I don't know which story you have, but you have one. It's already cost you way too much. You know that. You've already missed opportunities because of it. So why the hell are you listening to it? It's already screwed you over. It's not your friend. It's not your safety mechanism. Stop telling yourself that bullshit. It's not your safety mechanism. It's your insecure subconscious getting you to play small so you don't take risks. We all have it. We all have that voice. But why the hell are you listening to it? So why not take the time to recognize What is that belief, that story, or that thought that gets you stuck? And ready for this deep wisdom? Don't believe it. It's bullshit. But call it out when you hear it. Call it out when you feel it. Don't let it hold you back anymore.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5 is love what you do.
Listen, I know sometimes it's hard. Those that want more, do more, go for more are the oddballs. They're the crazy ones at first. But remember this, they don't make statues of critics. They make statues of the dreamers, the crazy ones that kept pushing forward. If you believe there's more, like Dale Carnegie said, if you know you have more potential and you're not utilizing it, that's the definition of unhappiness. And let me ask you a question. Do you think this is the first time in history things have gone sideways? Man, I've been obsessing on books right now for the last 4,000 years. This has been the same cycle over and over and over. The last 500 years, the exact same cycle. But why has there still been people that have been massively successful, massively happy, even in times of change? How could that be? Because they didn't let the outside world affect the inside game. And those that can master the inner game thrive significantly more than those that are paralyzed trying to figure out what's next. Don't count on anybody else. Count on you and the strength you have inside of you. Find a way to convince yourself that what you're doing is part of your journey and fall in love with what you're currently doing. Yes, you can shift it just like that if you think to yourself, what I'm currently doing is just a stepping stone to who I'm going to become. Because how we do one thing is how we do everything. You can't say, I hate this job, and you're just getting by until something comes along, because maybe something will never come along. You'll never have the nerve. But if you fall in love with what you're doing, you get 10 times better, become the best at it, opportunity opens up like crazy. When I was working in a collision shop, working on cars every single day, I hated it. But I found a way to fall in love with it, and I became the best of the best. It was temporary. It was a bump in the road. But if I would have hated it forever, I might still be doing it. It could be, am I too old? Could be, am I too young? It could be, I'm not that good with tech. I live in the wrong area. I'm in the wrong country. Could be a million things. Remember, it's all a state of mind. If you think you're too old, you are. If you think you're too young, you are. If you think it's too hard, it is. How many people do we know that reinvented themselves in their 60s, their 70s, their 80s? My dad is reinventing himself right now at 85 years old. It is all a state of mind. I took 35 years of being in business for myself. Yes, 35 years. I was 17 when I started a firewood cutting business. Actually, 16. I started a firewood cutting business. And along that journey of firewood business and my parents being married 9 times and this journey of obsessing and reading and starting 13 companies and doing more than I ever imagined possible, going on to being a multiple New York Times bestselling author and partner with Tony Robbins and donate millions to charity and all this great stuff. Along that journey, I've now looked back and I recognize what are the pieces that propelled me forward? What kept my state of mind? What suppressed the inner villain or suppressed the inner imposter syndrome or that inner self-doubt and unleashed this power that moved me forward even when I was uncomfortable? What allowed me to find the motivation, the inspiration, the enthusiasm, the excitement, the energy? How do I stay in shape? How do I have the love of my life, be the dad I want, balance power, balance time? How to persuade ethically? All of those things are the things that allowed me to be here. We can replace any limiting story with a story of empowerment. And when you attach those emotions to goals, you become unstoppable. So you know where you are with honesty. Then we must decide, where is it that we truly want to go? Who do we want to be in a year from now? Think of that question. I didn't say what do you want? Who do you want to become a year from now? What kind of income, happiness, joy, health do you want? Let's pretend it's a year from now. Pretend it's the best year of our lives. And what does that look like when you look in the mirror? When you look in your bank account? When you get up to do your daily thing? Is it going to an office or is it doing your own thing where you're impacting others, right? So if we know where we are and we know where we want to go, then we talked about attaching the emotion of why. Why do you want to make more money, have more love, have a better body, or be in better shape? Why do you want to find self-love again? Or get out of that bad habit? Why? It's always deeper, right? Could be for family, could be for freedom, could be because you want control of your decisions, your time, right? Could be that you want to be a better parent, a better husband, a better wife, a better spouse, a better significant other. I don't know your why, but when you attach your heart to your goal, you become unstoppable. The last piece, if you know where you are and you know where you want to go, if you attach your heart, the last piece is, how are you going to get there? What capabilities do you need to keep your mindset sharp, to never lose your confidence, to stay in the right state of mind, to unleash that inner hero that lives in all of us, to stay happy, abundant, to focus on solutions, to move forward, to not feel like an imposter? What capabilities do you need?
Rule number 6 is learn to be selfish.
I've doubted myself a million times. I felt like an imposter a million times. I've had my own family look me in the eye and say, stop being a dreamer, Dean. That's for other people. You didn't go to college. We don't come from that kind of money. You'll never be that. They don't say that when I land my own jet in my hometown and my whole family gets off my own plane, right? I don't say that to be a jerk. You don't even see me. Did you ever see me post a picture of my plane on my Instagram? I'm not the guy that holds up money or shows you in my plane or my house that's the house of my dreams. I don't do that. I don't want people to follow me because I hold stacks of money on a Facebook ad, right? I want people to know me for the heart I have. But I'm blessed to have more success than I ever could have dreamed possible. And I get to take care of the people I love. I got to put my own oxygen mask on years ago, and now I put it on a lot more people than you'd ever know. That's not all I donate to. We've done it in a lot of different areas. And this year I want to donate, I don't know about the feelings you have, but who felt that in their heart when I shared what I was able to do, right? Who in here has a desire to help other people once you're secure? Can I share something with you? And I want to share this today because it just feels on my heart. I'm going to tell you to be selfish. Be selfish. Be selfish for the next 3 years. Go get yourself strong. Go put your own oxygen mask on. Put some money in the bank. Crush your company. Be selfish with your time. Be selfish with your income. Be greedy on the amount of money you want to make. I'm telling you, be greedy, be selfish. You know why? Because if you go all in, if you stop thinking, I wish I could do more, be more, go all in and make the money. Get secure and put your oxygen mask on, and what you can do in 5 years from now, what you can do in 7 years from now, what you could do in 12 years from now is unbelievable. But we need this moment of us. We need this moment of getting ourselves. So many of you I see right now are the most giving people you've ever, anyone knows. You're the person that gives the most. You know what you're doing? You're putting oxygen masks on everybody else and you can barely breathe. You're out there helping everybody. Let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And you're barely breathing. You're like, here's an oxygen mask. Here's an oxygen mask. When you need to hold it to your face. I love the story of Andrew Carnegie, right? What did Andrew Carnegie at a certain pace in his life? You know what he said? I'm going to spend the first half of my life making a ton of money. And I'm going to spend the second half of my life giving it all away. If he would have felt guilty, if he would have not went for it, he never would have got to the ability to do the things that he was able to do with his money. I'm telling you, be greedy, be selfish, so you could be the least greedy and the least selfish for the long run, right? What does Tony always say? And I think he got it from Jim Rohn, who probably got it from somebody else. But we all overestimate what we can do in a year, and we underestimate what we can do in 5. Who in here in 5 years from now would love to sit down with your family, like I was able to do this Christmas, right after Christmas, and say, as a family, we have X amount of dollars that we want to help people. What do you guys want to do? How does that, I don't know, maybe that doesn't ring a bell for everybody. It rang a bell for me. And my wife's like, oh my God, I want to help kids. And my daughter was like, I want to help this. There's too much separation in our world right now. Who can we help out to help bond our communities, bond the people, become the human race? My son had his idea. I'm like, okay, what do you want to spend? Go online, find a great company, find somebody that's got 5-star rating, go, come back to the table. Who are we going to donate money to? How does that feel? What does that do for your soul right now? What does that do for your heart right now? Is that bigger than anything else? But I'm telling you, don't do that until your mask is on. That's the part we all want to do. Who wants to do that? Who wants to donate more, give more, impact more, right? But I'm not saying you shouldn't help out now. If you don't donate $1 million out of 10 million, you won't donate, if you won't donate $1 out of $10, you won't donate $1 million out of 10 million. We can do things now, but be more selfish, more greedy with your time, your money, and all of it right now. Put your focus on you, put your focus on being successful, because then in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, you get to cut checks and make an influence.
Rule number 7 is seek fulfillment.
If you're a little confused about money, if you're a little guilty to make money, if you're a little bit guilty that you're here, that you want to make more money, I got to get that crap out of your system, because that is just a lie someone else downloaded into you. I want to tell you, when I was able to get money so it wasn't the front and center worry of my life, guess who was left standing in the mirror? Just me. I didn't have to worry about the rent. I didn't have to worry about the car I wanted. I didn't have to worry about my kids. Only person standing. I couldn't use that excuse of, I'll worry about this later. Let me just slam a drink and keep moving harder. Let me just do this, or let me be distracted. When I was in my 20s, I dated obsessively. I went out and partied a lot. Like, I always found a way to hide the crap that was living inside, and most of it was through work. If I was gonna say I was an aholic of something, I was a workaholic, for sure, in my 20s. And then guess what happened by the time I was 30, 35? I started getting successful. I started paid off all my debts. I retired my parents. I get in my 40s and I'm really successful. And I don't have to think about money anymore. I don't have to worry about it. I worry about my companies, my family, and all that stuff. And the only person left standing in the mirror was me. What I'm telling you, what success can do, it can allow you to spend the time on the things you really need to do, that you're avoiding through work, you're avoiding through cocktails, you're avoiding through surfing on the internet, avoiding because you binge out on Netflix, avoiding through sex, through anything. There's things that we can put out there to hide and mask. And when you get money out of the way and you get to look at you in the mirror, you could say, now it's time to be a better version of me. And if anybody would have ever told me that in my 20s, I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? If I get money, I don't have to worry anymore. When I got money out of the way, the worry went up, because I had nothing to worry about anymore except looking in the mirror and go, this guy's pretty screwed up. You made the money, now let's find a way to be a better human. And when I got to work on me, I went from being, in my previous relationship, a good provider as a husband, an amazing dad, but I wasn't amazing. I got to work on me, and now I'm married to the love of my life, and I get to know what real love is, real compassion, real intimacy, real connection, real friendship. I get to be a dad that's completely connected to my children in a way that I thought I was, but in a whole different world, because I got the coaching, I spent the money, I spent the time. I interviewed people who are good parents and who have great relationships. I got to heal the child I was. I got to forgive my dad all the way. Completely forgive my dad. My heart is complete. There's no animosity anywhere for my dad. I won't die with any regrets. I think all the time, what regrets would I have? How do I solve them now? Right? And it gave me a freedom that I never realized existed. So if you want something today to fight for the person you're supposed to be, you're meant to be, fight for that. Fight for the healing that you could be. And then here's the cool part. Then, when I got that, and listen, I also know how many of you are successful on here. Please, I'm not talking to you like you have nothing, and that's not what I'm saying. But I want to tell you, this evolution is I got money out of the way, and I started seeing success. And then when I started becoming a better version of me, I got in better relationships. I was better to my team. I became a better trainer. I became a better human. Then all of a sudden, when I got my own money out of the way, I love that saying when you're on an airplane and it says, put your oxygen mask on first, right? Think about that. You put your oxygen mask on first, and then what's the next thing you do? Then you put it on other people. Once you get your oxygen mask on, then you could say, okay, I'm safe, I'm secure. You get to focus on the things that are really important. You see, I watched my mom and dad my whole childhood. They didn't even realize it. Now I'm older, I didn't realize it as a kid, that money was their number one thing. I lived in a trailer park with my mom. We couldn't even afford the rent. We got evicted from the trailer park we lived in and moved in with my grandmother. My mom worked 3 jobs. Money was always the thing. She was a slave to it. She didn't have a degree. My mother's the most beautiful woman on the planet, had dyslexia really bad and never really got that fixed, so she always considered herself not that smart. So she would never go for a real job, like something that filled her heart. She would go for cleaning houses and painting houses and cleaning up salons and cutting hair when she could on the side. And like, she did all these things, and none of those are disrespectful. She worked, right? But money was her thing. She didn't have time to work on her personal growth or work on her emotional intelligence or overcome the things that may have went a little sideways as a kid and try to heal that child that was scared. She didn't. My father was the youngest of 12, was beat physically really bad to where that's why he didn't stay married long. That's why he had 11 brothers and sisters and didn't talk to any of them. He was in a physically abusive relationship and never took the time to heal that or forgive himself or forgive his father, right? Because all he worried about was making the next dollar, right? I get that. Maybe that's one of the reasons I'm successful, because I saw both my parents struggle so much with that it's like, I want to get that crap out of the way. Like, they never had time to work on themselves, right? And I want to tell you, as a person who didn't come from anything and legit went to school without lunch money some days, that I always thought money was going to heal me. I just thought, I'll get more successful, get more rich, and I'll be good. It's kind of true, but not really, not in the way I thought. Being successful allows you to help flourish the economy, of course, but it also gives you leverage to help, to donate, to fix, to serve, to bring people together, to help make effective change. If you don't think money solves problems, then first off, I don't believe you've ever given enough away. Think about that one. If you don't think money solves problems, you haven't given enough away. When money is something that's on your list of things to worry about, and it should be. We can't do anything without money. We can't just sit at home and manifest everything to go great in our life. We'd love that, but they'll come throw you out of your house or your apartment. They'll take your TV, they'll take your car. We got to pay the bills, right? When money isn't as much of a worry, you get to focus on the things that are really important.
Rule number 8 is overcome self-doubt.
One of the biggest things we always get is the whole imposter syndrome or I'm not good enough, right? But what if your children or your hypothetical children grew up and felt like imposters? What if they felt they weren't good enough? What if they let self-doubt push them into a job they hate, but they thought, well, my mom took this job and she stuck with it. She stuck with it for 42 years and she put us through college and she took care of us. If my mom could do that, then you know what? I'm not that happy with this, but I kind of feel like an imposter, so I'm just going to stick with it. When I say that, does that give anybody else like the hair stand up in their arms of like, no, screw that. If my daughter came to me and said, hey, Dad, I love you. Good to see you this weekend. How's it going, babe? Well, you know, I got that job and well, I heard you wanted to have your own art company and be a designer and design companies and all that stuff. Yeah, Dad, but you know, I didn't get the best grades in school and you know, I don't want people to think I'm just living off your coattails, so it's okay. I took that job. You know, it's a good job, great benefits. If I saw her with that kind of expression on her face, I would die. I would die. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Life's too short. It goes by in a second. Like, you don't realize it now, but how fast is time going right now, right? Like, we don't have time for that. And if we feel like the imposters, if we allow that to dominate our space, that's what we're giving out to the world. We're letting people know it's okay to let self-doubt, to let past accomplishments create this imposter syndrome to say you're not good enough. And even if you think it's not a part of you, in so many cases it is. Because if you're not moving forward as fast as you think, there's still one area of your life you think you need to get better at. You may never get better at it, and that's okay.
Rule number 9 is surround yourself with positivity.
I started changing the people I was hanging around. I started not listening to the people who were telling me what could go wrong, and I found people who did it right. The same stuff I teach in business. Wow, oh my God, I wrote this in Millionaire Success Habits, but I'm doing it in my personal life. Now I'm surrounding myself with people that went through this and have thriving children. They're thriving parents. I go down and spend a day with my buddy Tony Robbins. He went through a little depression. He had to turn his ship into the storm. But on the other side is something so different. So all of a sudden, I had to find hacks because here's what I realized. I couldn't think my way through this. And again, I'm going so deep on this, guys, because I really want you to think about the area. And you might have nothing in your life that you have to face, but most of us do, right? So I had to find a way, because I couldn't think myself through the process. I was trying to just visualize a bigger future. And I can do that in most things, but in this case, it wasn't enough. This was like a deep anchor, right? So now I start doing the research. I'm like, what can change my brain? Sometimes you need something physical to change your brain. You need to do something. So after a bunch of research, I'm going to tell you some of the stuff I did. After being with Tony, who's a dear friend and checked up on me and gave me some amazing advice, Dr. Amen, so many other loving people in my life that I reached out to people who could fix it rather than people would tell me how bad it was going to be. And I started a few things. I started meditating more. Always dabbled, but I started meditating more. I started journaling. I would recommend to everybody that you journal and talk about, it doesn't have to be a big, long journal. It doesn't have to be perfect structure. Just at night, write about the day, write about the win, write about the thing that worried you the most. What I did, I was literally writing the win I would have for the day at night. I was sitting in my bed, literally, picture this, guys. You know me. You know what I've done. You know all the great stuff. I get to jump on private planes and fly to Japan and China and Australia and speak on stage with Tony Robbins with 15,000 people, all this amazing stuff. Then I go home at night, and I'm living in the guest room. And I'm sitting in there with the lamp on, picture this, with my journal, trying to get my straight. It's real, as real as I can get. And I'm journaling the wins I had for the day and the things that affected my life that day. And all of a sudden, the journaling, you know what it did? It allowed me to see the things that steered me in the wrong direction. It allowed me to see the things that were, like I'd go back 3, 4, 5 weeks in my journal, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I let that derail me. And I started seeing a pattern of the things that derailed me and the things that gave me confidence and courage to go to another level. And I started doing more of those and less of this. I mean, I was like starting all over again. And you might have to experience this when it comes to success. You might have the same fears I do about starting your new business because of old fears, old challenges, old experiences, right? So the reason I'm doing it, so I start journaling, and then I start every single night, every single day, every night, every morning in my journal, I'm writing just 3 things I'm grateful for. Little things. And I'd write down, the dog was amazing today. I'm playing outside. She's such a cute dog. My son smiled at me after being grumpy, or I got to watch a baseball game or watch my daughter pitch. I start writing these down, and I'm like finding myself again. As crazy as this sounds. Now, listen, again, so many of you have had 10 times worse experiences. I'm not trying to say, poor me. No, this was my journey. I'm doing this to inspire you to turn your ship towards the storm, right? So I started gratitude. I started journaling. Exercise. What I realized too, when it's hit me the hardest, I stayed away from exercise. So I'm like, I can't even think about exercise right now. When simultaneously, when you exercise, more oxygen goes to the brain, your endorphins are released. I needed exercise. I started exercising again on a regular basis. And then I started doing what I'm doing right now. I started talking about it. For the first 8, 9 months, I didn't tell anyone. This was my thing. I felt like a failure. I'm like, how can I do so much right in my life and I'm doing this wrong? I started talking about it. I started expressing it. I started to say it out loud. I started to not be embarrassed by it. I started to lean into it. I started not thinking as a failure, start thinking I could only be a failure if I screw this up and don't learn. And I also, like anything else, I stopped letting unqualified people give me even a hint of what was right and what was wrong. I won't listen. In fact, I want to tell you something where I'm at now. There were some friends in my life that told me, hey man, stay in a marriage, it doesn't work, it doesn't matter because you'll be so sad, your kids will be messed up. And when they saw me go through it, and I'm going to talk where I am now, they're back and like, oh my God, you're so brave. I want to fix my marriage. I need to fix it. Like, instead of just ignoring, I want to fix, like, they were saying it because they were in pain. And it was such a flashlight and a magnifying glass on everything, because I realized the people who gave me advice is because they were miserable, because they were afraid to face their fear. And then since I did, all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, Dean, please tell me how you did it. Tell me how you got through it. And I was like, wow, I teach people this all the time, but now I get to see it firsthand because it's been so long since I've been in the business side. But so many people who tell you can't start your own business, it won't work, you're not qualified. It's because they're afraid, because they're scared, and they're projecting their fears onto you. Then here's the best part. I started started observing my thinking. Now, I teach this all the time. I do it in business all the time. I observe my thoughts nonstop. But now I'm observing my thoughts for the things that take me down the wrong path rather than the right path. I started detecting thinking immediately and go, whoa, 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 I'm not going down that road. That road leads me to anxiety and fear. I won't be a good dad. I won't be a good, I won't impact the world. I won't be a good example. No, I'm not going down that road. I'm going down this road. I started to catch myself when I was like the triggers that would put me in the wrong direction. And then all of a sudden, with that combo of all those things, I started redrafting my story. You know, I tell everybody all the time, what lives between you and the life you desire, besides the obstacle sometimes could simply be the story you tell yourself. If you tell yourself, I could make more money if I had money to invest in if somebody gave me money to invest in my company. I could do it if I lived in a different area. I could do it if I had a different spouse. I could do it if I had different parents. I could do it if I lived in a different area, if I had a different education, if I was smarter, faster, richer, wasn't stuck in a bad job. What stands between you and your next level of life is the story. The story that I had that was driving me mad, driving me to have anxiety, driving me to have fear, driving me to have emotions I've never had in my life was a really story. If I leave my kids, I'm going to do what my parents did to me. I'm going to screw their life up and I'm going to miss them so bad I'll never be the same.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is make an impact.
Make an impact. And that's what I consider being success. Success isn't just the money. You know, I have to tell you, and do you mind if I share? I hope you don't think I'm bragging. I don't tell anybody, I don't take pictures. But 10 years ago, 10 or 12 years ago, I got invited by somebody, now maybe 15 years ago, I got invited to go on a private plane. I don't know, I honestly don't know how long ago. It could have been 20 years ago. And it was somebody that was really wealthy. And I came from a kid that was in a trailer park and I was already in business and I was already doing well, but nothing like that. And I flew on this plane and it was like, you just drive your car to the plane, you drive right out on the tarmac. I'm in shock. You get out of your car, you take 3 steps, you walk up into the plane, it takes off, you land, and when you land, your rental car is waiting at the bottom of the steps. I'm like, holy crap. This is unbelievable. There's food on the plane. There's a bathroom on the plane. It's like, this is ridiculous. This can't be possible. And I remembered that plane. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm buying one of these someday. I'm going to buy it after I hit certain criteria, after I saved enough, after I gave enough away. I'm buying one of these. And I've chartered since then. I've probably flown mostly private. I don't know, 10 years. I never talk. You never hear me talk about this. Look at this. Some of you I have a relationship with for 7 to 10 years. Never shared this. That's why I don't want you to respect me because I got a big house and a plane. I want you to respect me for my heart, my feeling, and how I got here. And that's what I hope I share that with you guys. You see a lot of people, go on your Facebook right now. I guarantee there's somebody holding the $500,000 in their hand and someone else in front of their Lamborghini and someone else showing off their watch, right? You never see that with me. I wear pretty much a gray t-shirt today. It's a very special day. I have a greenish gray shirt on. It's a special day right here. I digress. I was on that plane probably 15, 18 years ago. I bought that plane a year ago. But was it easy? No. Have I failed miserably? Yes. Have I doubted myself? Absolutely. Have I felt like an imposter? More than you'll ever know or ever believe. But it's possible. The only thing is we have to stay in the game. We have to find what drives us. We have to keep moving forward. We have to say to ourselves, again, I see so many incredible people on here. I know the success you've had. This isn't about you not having success up until now. It's about me hopefully helping you get to that next level of success. And listen, I'm at a place where I don't, yes, I have a plane. I have a beautiful home. But I'm not flashy. I drive a Ford pickup truck, by the way, guys. If you lived in Arizona and you saw me at a red light, I drive a white Ford F-150 every day. I do not have any other car. I don't have motorcycles. I don't buy watches. I have a really nice watch on my wrist right now. If you know watches, it's one of the nicest watches out there. It was a present from Tony Robbins, from all the work we do together. Or else I'd have a simple old watch or not wear one at all. So I'm really simple in some areas. And then I get to do the things that I want, but I wouldn't do any of those things that I want unless I could give at the level I want to give. Last year, I donated more to charity than ever before in my life. I need to do that. I need to break last year, this year. right? So that's my message for today is it's all possible. Dream big, but know we have to put in the work. It doesn't come by accident. There's no magical money machines. You don't invent something today and be rich tomorrow. You don't put a page up on mastermind.com on Friday and by Monday there's $1 million in your account. It's a process. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes work, it takes overcoming your fear, it takes being brave, it takes being courageous. And at the end of the day, I've had an ulcer before as a kid, I've stressed, I've gone broke, I've been ridiculed, I felt bad about myself, I felt insecure. And at the end of the day, I would do it 1,000,000 times over. I get to be with you amazing people. And here's the thing I know. If I would have stayed and just went into a job and worked for someone else, even though I knew I had more to give the world. And I'm not saying a job is bad, I'm saying the wrong job, right? I still would have failed. I still would have felt like an imposter. I still would have been ridiculed. All those things still would have happened, but I would have had someone else with their foot on my head. So if somebody says to me, man, doing your own thing, going for that next level is scary. Yes, it's even scarier to think that I have to live by someone else's rules for the rest of my life. Think about what's scarier, trying and failing, or living by someone else's rules for the rest of your life. Some of you are going slow. It's okay. Just keep moving forward. Be a better version of yourself today than last week, last month, last year. That's all we can ask. Because when you stop that, when you cross your arms and just hope the outside world gets better, that's when the world eats your lunch. And, you know, we're just not having that. Hey guys, so I'm taking a little walk a little later in the day today. A little hot out here, but it's getting better here in Arizona. Appreciate you guys so much. Seriously, there's so many incredible comments every single day. Okay, today, here's a quick message for today. I gotta be honest with you. I went over a decade without watching the news because I don't like to do anything in my life that robs my confidence or makes me feel scared, robs my courage, robs my desire to move forward. I do like being a little blind to it sometimes because then I can focus on me. I can change the world if I change things in my family, change things in my home, my community, my town, with my team, the people I get to impact, right? Getting sucked into the news, man, it could really get you, right? But it's not just the news in my life. I try to do everything, and I know if you guys know anything about me, or what I teach at least, is that I do everything in my power to feed the inner hero that lives inside of me, and everything in my power to crush, kill, and destroy the inner villain. That inner villain's really just self-doubt, worrying about what's going wrong. None of you have ever done that, right? Neither have I. You've never started with one thing that could go wrong, and it snowballed into more and more and more, and finally you feel almost paralyzed, like stuck, right? Yeah, we've all done it. So it's our job to crush that inner villain and evoke and empower our inner hero. Name it whatever you want. I just give it silly names because it's easier for me. But I gotta tell you, I want to be completely transparent with you. I got a couple dear friends that are smart as heck. You would know both of them if I mentioned their name, and they're really worried about our future, and I am as well too. Living here in America, and some crazy things going on, from COVID to so many other things. Doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum of conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat, moderate. It doesn't matter where you are. It's a little crazy time in America. We could admit that. So I try not to get sucked into it because I feel like the only way I can make an impact is be the best version of me and contribute that way. But I have to tell you, this weekend, I got sucked into a rabbit hole of reading obsessively. Now, when I say read, you got to really look at things objectively. Because in our world, here in America, at least if you're watching someplace else, we have two different kind of news organizations. There's Fox News and there's everybody else. And depending on what you watch, it is the two completely different stories in the world. I'm not telling you which one you should watch or who you should be. I'm just telling you it is like the sky is blue. No, it's not. The sky is green. Or like completely different worlds. So you could go down a rabbit hole of either one, or you could really just dive in and see where we are as a country, where we are, and wherever you live in the world, right? Same with you. But I have to tell you, I got sucked in this week, and it reminded me of those insecurities that most people feel, starting worrying so much that it literally stalled me. It had me nervous about moving forward, nervous about doing the things that really can make a difference in my world, that can make a difference in the outside world. Yes, we have more control than you think. And it just made me realize, oh my God, this is one of the hardest things in the world, is to keep those elements out, or protect yourself from those things that rob your confidence, that rob your desires, rob your dreams. And here's the deal. You got to realize, when you feed your inner villain, the self-doubt, the imposter syndrome, with just a little bit, when you start thinking that, it's a snowball. It gets bigger and bigger. And guess what? With all that coming in, even if you think you're strong, if you just play a little small, if you hold back just a little bit, that's enough to let life pass you by. That's enough for you to miss out. So the reason I'm sharing this today is I woke up this morning and literally I took 10 minutes and I had like an exorcism. I like pushed all that out. It's true. And there's a lot of crazy things going on in the world. There's a lot of things I want to help with. There's a lot of things I want to change. And I will do my part. I will, from donating the money to helping contribute, to share, to be there. I will do everything in my power. I will vote. I will do all. But outside that, I have to focus on me. I have to focus on being the best version of me. I have to focus on protecting my family, delivering you capabilities, keeping you strong and not stuck in your head. We get to change the world by staying in our inner hero, to crush imposter syndrome, to crush self-doubt and say, yes, those things are going on, but I can't change it unless I become empowered, unless I become the best version of me. I literally had to go through a freaking toxic waste dump of where I let myself go this weekend, and now I'm back on track, thinking about a bigger future, knowing I can get it done, taking on hard things now so I can live easier later, to serve you at the highest level. Don't you miss out on you. Don't you let outside influences and people tell you how bad things are and it's not going to work. That's their journey. That's their life. God didn't give them your dreams and your goals. They gave them to you. We have to live inside and awaken and evoke our inner hero, the strong one, the confident one, the one that's courageous, that's already done so many incredible things in your life. We have to empower that version of us, because if we let the inner villain take control, that self-doubt, it will stop us dead in our tracks, and we'll think this is for other people. It's not the right time. We got to do something different. And 5 years will go by just like that. And then you'll be back looking for the self-education revolution, and we'll be here. This family will be here crushing it, but you'll be 5 years behind. Can't have that happen. That's it for today. Feed the inner hero. Crush the inner villain. Don't let the outside world control you. Be the thermostat of life, not the thermometer. The thermometer goes up and down based on what's going on around you. Thermostat, you get to adjust. That's how we win. It's how we help others. It's how we serve each other. Life can pull us in a lot of directions. The craziness of the outside world can allow us to forget about our dreams, or find imposter syndrome, or lose our confidence, lose our drive, lose our desire, lose our focus. We get overwhelmed on not knowing where to start, and then we don't start at all. All those things happen. They're life. Add in 2.5 years of COVID. Now that we're going into an economic winter and inflation high, which is gas and food, and all the prices are high, we add that we're in a polarized time in history where it feels like everybody's trying to push us apart when we're trying to come back together. Anybody feel that way? Wouldn't we rather all just get together and find our common ground? The media and the world want to tell us how different we are, but I think we have way more in common than everybody's telling us. And if we all were exactly the same, wouldn't that just be a boring world, right? So we're in this time of a couple of 2.5 years of COVID, and then we go into a place where now we're in an economic downturn, recession looming. I think by July 1, they'll officially announce we're in a recession. If you ask anybody, we're actually in it. And I was in business for myself in 2009, or in 2007 when we went into a recession, but I was also in business for myself in 1999. Who remembers the internet crash, right, of 99? I was in business then as well, naive, and didn't even know it was a thing. By 2007, I understood it more and had smarter friends, and we made transitions and shifts in advance, and we were able to thrive through that shifting time. If I was just starting in business, if I wanted to shift my life, my income, my success, my happiness, my joy, what would I like to learn? So that's really, I'd love to say that there's more thought to it than that. We need this connection. We need to be plugged in. We need not to forget what our dreams are. We need not to let imposter syndrome be in control of us. We can't let the inner self-doubt say, play small, especially now. With the world shifting, I just want to tell you, this is not a time to sit on your hands. I did an interview 2 or 3 days ago with Tom Bilyeu. I don't know if any of you have ever seen Impact Theory with Tom Bilyeu on YouTube. He's really good. Dear friend, he's great. He interviews wonderful people. He's really smart. So I took my kids with me. I had a couple podcasts. I went and saw my friend Brendan Burchard, and then I flew down to go see Tom Bilyeu, and I brought my older kids, my 13 and 15-year-old, and let them see what their dad does. I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. And as I was talking with Tom, I'm talking about where the world is going and the shifts happening. I'm going to use the real estate space as an example. When the economy shifts, interest rates went up 0.75. All of these things affect, and if you're old enough to understand, there's a bigger byproduct coming, right? The housing industry, there's no way it can't be affected. It's coming, right? But when you're in an industry that's been booming for 10 or 12 years, and if you're in the mortgage industry or the housing, if you sell houses, if you build houses, if you build if you're in it, the last thing you want to do is face it and go, no, maybe it's a little hiccup. Oh, this will happen quick, right? And we get a little amnesia to the way it used to be. So instead of saying, no, it's going to be fine, if I truly care about you guys, what I want to do today is help prepare you, help anticipate, not make it worse than it is, but not make it better than it is. You know, when things change, when it's scary, when something new happens, what is it we always talk about? Flight or fight, right? We got the flight or fight mechanism. Tom Bilyeu said something I never heard. He said the third F he thinks is even more relevant in today's world, and that's freeze. That's freeze. That's what I want you to think about today. That was my notes here. My team puts together nice cheat sheets for me, and I write all over them so much and so sloppy I can't read my own writing. But what I wrote was the 3 Fs: fight, flight, or freeze. With all the crap that's led up to this recession, this inflation of 2.5 years of COVID, where COVID did things like made us realize, screw that job of me going in every day and not being with my family, not doing something I love, being unsure, missing, screw that. I'm out on that. 82% of people right now want to quit or leave their job to do something new or do their own thing. Never before has it been. The worst it was ever prior to this was 48%. And that was a couple decades ago. So 82% of people are like, COVID made me realize. Maybe you went through a little hardship, but with that shift comes uncertainty, right? And then all of a sudden you slam into gas, the highest it was, and inflation, and now you're like, should I not buy my house? Should I wait to buy? Should I wait to sell? What should I do? Should I invest? Should I take my money out of the stock market? Is my 401k gonna go away forever? Should it go back? Should I take it out and sit in cash? But if I do that, they say cash is trash. So if I sit on cash, it's trash, but if I leave it in the market, it goes down. Right? And all of a sudden this uncertainty builds, and if uncertainty builds, more than I've seen in my 53 years on this planet, guess what happens? Freeze. I don't know if I should do my self-education industry. I don't know if I should do anything with investment. I don't know. And when you feel that way, you freeze, you sit on your hands, you do nothing. This is not a time to freeze. In fact, this is a time to thrive. This is a time to gain capabilities because most people are going to freeze more than you know, and we're not there yet. If people smarter than me, where we're going I get the chance to have great conversations, more and more uncertainty will climb, confidence will go down, and more freezing will happen. I want to talk about those tough decisions, those ones we ignore, those ones that we avoid, those ones that give us a bellyache sometimes. And not that everybody's going through that, but so many times in life there are decisions we need to make that we are not. It is so much easier. I don't know about you, but I absolutely do it. If there's hard things in my life, I find a way to tuck it down and stay busy, avoid it, do something else. And in most cases, those tough decisions are the ones that make the biggest impact in your life. So today, let's talk about those tough decisions that we like to avoid, that we like to put off because they could be painful, they could be scary. Sometimes there's an unknown attached on the other side of those tough decisions. So is it easier just to tuck it down, forget about it, and move on? Yeah, probably temporary, but not long term. So how do we make tough decisions? Well, here's one I'd like you to think about. First off, number one, if we don't make a decision, nothing will change. In fact, it most likely will get worse. So think about this. Whatever's stopping you, holding you back, makes you scared, makes you worried, if you do nothing about it, all it will do is occupy your mind, occupy your thoughts. And fast forward a year, 5 years, 10 years from now, will it be any different? Imagine if that one thing you're thinking of, there could be lots of things. It could be in love life, health, relationships. It could be in your starting a new career, starting a new job, finally getting out of a job that's killing you, or registering that URL, or doing the first deal, or making the first offer. I don't know what it is. But there's something holding you back. It's this big decision. It's something you're worried about. Maybe you don't want to tell your spouse. Maybe you don't want to tell your family. Maybe you're afraid to talk to people around you, so you ignore it. But if you keep ignoring it, how would it feel if you compounded it a year from now and you're in the same exact spot? That's the first thing. Secondly, what if it's 5 years from now and that same exact thing that you're afraid to make a decision on is still holding you back? It's got you stuck exactly where you are today. What if it's 10 years? Let me ask you, and you say, I don't think 10 years will go by. How fast has the last 5 years gone by for you? I don't know, let me know below. If you think it's gone by fast, say yes below or type a Y. Life has gone by so fast in the last 5 years. I'm blessed that I'm trying to soak up every bit, but it's going fast. So how long did you ever stay in a bad relationship, stay in a bad job, not make that decision, not contemplate the new business, contemplate making more money, contemplate getting more training, whatever it is, and all of a sudden you realize, like, wow, that was a year ago I started thinking about that. No, that was 5 years ago, or it was 10 years ago. So first off, I want you to think, if you don't make a decision, the pain of that inaction will do nothing but grow. Just grab a piece of paper and think about this. Amuse me here for a second. I want you to think about two different timelines. Now, this is hard to do. Most people don't do this stuff, but most people wouldn't be watching me. Most people are sitting around thinking about more, complaining. I don't mean that disrespectful, but they're not gaining wisdom, knowledge, or even inspiration. I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in the world, but if I can inspire you to action today, then it's worth this time, right? I want you to think about taking two pieces of paper, and on one, write where you are. I'm here right now. And then I want you like a flow chart of your life. I want you to do version 1. You don't make that tough decision. You don't start the business. You don't say no to this relationship. You don't fix it. You don't move to the next level. Nothing changes. And I want you to write what will be if nothing changes. You stay where you are. Well, the job will be okay. 6 months from now, maybe you get a little raise. A year from now, another raise. Let's just take a job, for example, that might just be draining your body, draining your soul. It was something your family, friends, your college professor, somebody thought you should take. Maybe it made you feel responsible for a moment, but you know it's killing you on the inside. So let's just say you stay in that job. As you go down that path, think about where will you be in 6 months and how will you feel? What's the emotions? How will you feel if you get a 10% raise in a year from now and you get an extra 3 days vacation? And just go down that road over the next 10 or 20 years and spend the time. Is your life worth 10 minutes taking that? And maybe you'll find that's okay. You'll get a promotion. You'll move to next level of management. You'll feel better about, I don't know, go down that road. And then also feel, what kind of security would you have? Maybe that job brings you a sense of security. And go down that road. You could do the same thing with staying in a relationship. You could do the same thing with leaving your health the way it is. Take a 10-year look into the future and literally write it down. Don't just think about it. Don't just visualize, even though they're both amazing. Write it down like I'm picturing. If I was on a whiteboard with you right now and you were sitting in front of me, I would say, okay, where are you right now? And you tell me and say, okay, 6 months from now, where would you be with your health, your relationship, your job, your income, if nothing changes? And we just go down that road and figure a line and a circle, then another line, then a circle and a circle and a circle. And then just look at that path. And maybe you'll find, you know what? It's safe, it's secure. I need security in my life. That's great. But then below it, or on another piece of paper, Then think if you make the change, if you make the decision, if you get through the pain, if you stop avoiding the big decision, if you stop feeling stuck and you just said, screw this, I am changing this today. I'm ending this bad relationship today. I'm fixing the bad relationship right now. I'm ending this job, or I'm transitioning, or I'm going to start to look, or I'm going to post my resume, or I'm going to start my own business, or I'm going to start doing real estate, or I'm going to start doing whatever it is that you want to do. I'm going to register the URL, whatever it is. Picture on the next chart, if you're on a flow chart, whiteboard, or piece of paper, is you made that change. Yeah, you might feel insecure. Write that down. What would you be in 6 months? What would you be doing? Would you be pursuing your passion? Would you be doing more yoga and meditation to get more in touch with who you are or feel better about you? You know, again, I'm kind of all over the board I'm thinking of it could be your relationship, could be your income, it could be your health, but just pick one and start going down that journey. Where will you be in 6 months, a year? You might be scared, but will you find something new? Think back on past experiences when you were scared and you made a decision. Your next level of life, your next level of happiness, joy always lives on the other side of your biggest challenge. I know that, you know that, but we all get scared. And then we get a little older, we get complacent, we get fearful and go, let me just leave it the way it is. How's leaving it the way it is do when no one's around? When you're alone, when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with your head spinning and you're thinking about it, right? How's that doing for you? I don't know. I'm not telling you from lack of experience. I've done these things myself. So I want you to think about the two options of your life. And as hard as it is, you're going to find this hard to do. Believe me, I just did this exercise with 2 different paths. I have the option for 2 different paths in my life on something that's huge. And I've been thinking about it and staying up and worrying. And I'm like, it's not working. I literally had to sit and go down both paths and not just a month, and I had to think, how will I feel in a year? How will I feel in 5 years? Now that life has gone by so quick, we know that 5 years is going to go by in a moment. So in 5 years, do you want to be watching me going, I remember when Dean did this 5 years ago and I still haven't went for it. I still haven't decided. I still haven't made that tough decision. When are you going to make that tough decision?
I believe happiness comes from stretching ourselves. Now, there's a million answers I can give, but if we're not stretching and we're not growing, I mean, Ed, how many families do you know that or people that you know that are trust fund kids, and I don't mean that in a bad way. My kids are going to end up doing something with what I do, but have everything they want, but aren't happy at all, right? It's like, you hear so many times a trust fund child will do too many drugs or not happy or multiple relationships, because I don't think they're stretching themselves. They're not finding a way to be hungry for something. And I think we all have to be hungry for what's next. You hear a million times, if you're not climbing, you're sliding. If you're not growing, you're dying. But it's not just words. Like, as 2 friends talking, I know that I get to appreciate and love life so much. Of course, you want to be passionate about what you do. You want to look into a bigger future. You want a compelling future. But the fact of the matter is, our growth comes from stretching, conquering our fears, right? We all know that our next level lives on the other side of the thing we fear the most. And I think when you take on things that are fearful, you move forward courageously, even though you're scared to death. Courage isn't a lack of fear. Courage is you're moving forward because you're afraid anyway. And during that journey, during that taking that courageous action, during the failure, during the time when your friends and family think you're a nut job, or you should be happy with what you have, or that job that you have is you should just stay there because that's what the norm wants. When you step outside of that, when you fail a little, when you stretch yourself, it's those moments that you stop and turn around and realize that you took uncomfortable action. You moved forward when there was no sign of evolving as a man, as a woman, as a husband, as a wife, as a father, as a leader. And I think at this phase of my life, I see that all the uncomfortableness that allowed me to get here was actually the thing that built my character.
For things to change, we have to change. For a breakthrough, we have to take the uncomfortable action to make that breakthrough happen. No one's coming to save us, right? But 2 things, being in Napa, looking at these vineyards, and being with my friend Brendan Bouchard made me realize what's allowed me to move on in my life is bigger thinking. See, so many times we're thinking a foot out in front of us.
we're so conditioned and programmed by the outside world telling us what we can't do, or we're a dreamer, or we're not in that industry, or we're too old, or we're too young, or we're not smart enough, or I don't have enough experience, I don't have a big following, I don't have a big YouTube channel. We have all these things telling us, and what that does without us realizing it, it makes us think a little bit smaller than we should. And when I look back in my life, man, the greatest gift God, the universe gave me was I used to dream and did and still do dream bigger, to stretch my goals, to aim for the solar system and you'll land on the sun, right? So why did that? So I'm going to give you an example business-wise, but I'm going to give you an example here with these grapes. So it's pretty cool. You see these grapes here, and you know, how cool would it be to own a winery or a vineyard? I think that's so many people's dreams, just even if you don't like wine, just because it's so relaxing. But did you know that when you plant these, it takes like 7 to 8 years before they're really mature enough to produce the fruit that could make good wine? And then when you pick it and go through the process, it takes another 2 years, maybe 3, to process it, barrel it, store it, age it, put it in bottles, and ship it to stores. Think about that. Sorry, my right arm's getting numb. Think about that. Talk about big thinking. Talk about visionary thinking. It goes along with the lines of sometimes we have to plant apple trees, and apple trees, just like grapes, they don't produce fruit immediately, and they still take work. Look, they still had to plant these. They still have to irrigate these. They still have to trim them. They have to put this wire up. They have to make sure the bugs aren't here. They plant lavender so it helps with the fragrance. They have to do all that work for 7 years without results. But think year 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15, 20, they get to create legacies. So 2 things I want to share today. 1, are you looking for things to happen quicker than they should? And then when they don't work immediately, overestimating what we can do in a year, underestimating what we can do in 5, are we saying, this doesn't work? I'm 3 months in, I'm 6 months in, I'm a year in, this doesn't work for me, I'm out. What if they said that about these grapes? What if they planted these grapes and were like, come on, you're 6 months old, give me the fruit, damn it, this isn't gonna work, burn it down. No, they know they gotta put the process, the time. So that's number 1, is let's be real. Let's not make it better than it is, but let's not make it worse than it is. The second part of my message, how I started this, is it's time to stretch your goals, to think bigger. You could do more, be more. When we decided to start doing challenges, and we're doing another big one in August for you guys, you're all invited as our guest. We're going for 1 million people. When we first did it, the biggest challenge Tony and I heard of was 100,000 people. That was the biggest one, and everybody said, oh my God, 100. I said, let's go for 1 million. Screw it, let's go for 1 million. Everybody, even though Tony's got the greatest brand in history, he's been around for 40-something years, I've been doing this for 25 years, just 1 million people, but think if they were in a stadium. We put 947,000 people in. This year we're breaking 1 million. I have no doubt in my mind. The only reason I'm saying that is sometimes the same problem that could make you 5 grand is the same amount of stress, worry, and angst to make you 50,000 or 5 million. The same output, the same mental thought, the same energy, the same overcoming obstacles to do your first sale is the same as doing 500 sales. I know because I've been through this journey. I've been broker than broke, and I made my first sale, and oh my God, I still remember it. I also have done some pretty amazing things, and it's the same amount of work, the same amount of stress, so you might as well stretch your goals. So today, my quick message here, so I can run off and be with my family and jump on a plane with my 2 kids, is remember these grapes. They take time, but it's worth it. Number 2, stretch your goals. Stop playing small. Stop letting the outside world dictate how big, how fast, how much impact you can make. If you would have looked at me, dyslexia, barely got out of high school, no college education, no money, family told me I was crazy, would anybody have bet on me if I was a horse in a race? Hell no. Hell no. But I had a culture of progress. I dreamed big. I modeled people who've already been there, and I took the uncomfortable action. That's why we're family. That's why you're here. Text me below that you're all in. Text me a comment, a message. I'll read every single one of these below. It's our time. The world needs us. Your family needs you. And it's time for you to reach your full potential.
It's the power of you can't. I really want you to hear this. Because this is stuff I've already taught you, or you've probably already heard, but I want to give you some catchphrases. I want to give you some catchphrases that you go, oh, I get that, right? Anybody here listen to Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights? Raise your hand if you did. Such a good book. Oh my God. And I don't know if you listened to it, but he's like, you know, he's an actor and he's a storyteller and he's one crazy dude and way crazier than you thought and really a good dude, like, because he's evolved and he grew, good family man, all that stuff. But the whole point, the name of the book is Green Lights. And his whole point, the green light, is in life when things go sideways and this didn't happen, someone let you down, right? The Tony Robbins, life happens for us, not to us. A lot of times when it was something that went totally sideways, or he gets stuck with a foster family that is absolutely insane in Australia and he can't leave for a year and he's going crazy. All these things that he thought were like the end of his life, a red light, when he looked back, they were actually a green light. Like, wow. That gave me the gift to understand this. It gave me the ability to act. It gave me the ability to understand that trouble with my dad made me a better human here. That trouble with my mom made me a better husband, right? And all those things. And he anchored that when something's going sideways, in most cases, it's a green light. And throughout the book, I'm not going to try to pretend to talk like Matthew McConaughey, but through the book, you know, he gets to a point and all of a sudden he goes, green light. And now in my head, the reason I'm sharing this, because I want to talk about the power of you can't, is I love little things like that, because you're going through a tough time, you're like, damn, why is this happening? And all of a sudden your brain goes, green light, you're like, oh, all right. Just like that green light phrase, I want you to think of you can't as a new trigger of like, oh, yes, I can. You see, I've embodied that when you think, hey, I'm going to launch my knowledge industry, my self-education. I'm going to launch my course, my coaching program, my high-ticket offer. I'm going to launch my next-level online business during a recession. And people in your family are going to go, ooh, you can't do that. Friends are going to say, oh, you can't do that now. Some of you are going to say, you can't do it during this presidency, or you can't do it over the last presidency, or you can't do it over the next one. And then what happens is your inner self-doubt, if you guys ever read Millionaire Success Habits, I call it the inner villain, will say, you can't do this. You've tried before. You're too old. You're too young. You don't understand technology. You're an introvert. All these things happen and that voice goes, you can't, you can't. And here's what's so sad. The majority of the world go, yeah, maybe I can't. But what I've trained myself to do, it's why I wrote it in that book and why I'm going to give you this little thing today, is when that voice comes in your ear or someone says it to you or it comes from inside, you can't means I must. Right? When I look back, God, I was so lucky because I didn't have a lot of mentors when I was younger. But I remember family and friends telling me I can't. And I remember thinking in my head, they're right. I don't have money, not that smart. I've never done this before. But who the heck, no way, I must now, right? My 12th grade yearbook, my saying was like, no one knows me now, but you'll hear me someday. And it was that same philosophy. I don't know where I got it from. Maybe it was watching my mom struggle and I wanted to take care of her. But I just remember everybody saying, you're not that smart. If you're not going to college, if you're not doing this, if you don't have money, it takes money to make money. My guidance counselor literally, and maybe you guys can appreciate someone who said this in your life at one point. My guidance counselor literally told me, not exaggerating, I'm not making this up, that I should go, if I wasn't going to college, that I should go to the only factory in our town and start with a minimum wage job packing plastic bags in boxes. They were a plastic bag company. And she said, you might be able to work your way up through that. Thanks, Miss Canosa. I'm glad you saw my potential. We've all been there. It's like, really? It was like, college, oh, the dumb guy. Ooh, you know, go pack minimum wage. Maybe you could be a line manager someday. I mean, literally, come on. But the reason I'm saying this is because somewhere, someone told you, can we just say it like it is? Sometime in your life, maybe multiple times, someone told you you can't, or that's not for you, or it's not the right time, or that's for other people, and you didn't do it. I could get emotional. I don't know what, maybe because I'm not feeling good today. I could literally cry. I'm not kidding, because how many times have you missed out on the man or the woman you're supposed to be because someone unqualified told you you should? And the only reason I think I get emotional is because I was a millimeter away from not being this guy. I was a millimeter away from believing what everybody told me. You don't have great grades. You don't have money. You're not going to college. You should just be happy with the life that someone else deals with you or dealt you.
We can replace any limiting story with a story of empowerment. And when you attach those emotions to goals, you become unstoppable. Where you are is maybe okay, but it's not who you're meant to be. So you know where you are with honesty. Then we must decide, where is it that we truly want to go? Who do we want to be in a year from now? Think of that question. I didn't say what do you want. Who do you want to become a year from now? What kind of income, happiness, joy, health do you want? Let's pretend it's a year from now. Pretend it's the best year of our lives. And what does that look like when you look in the mirror, when you look in your bank account, when you get up to do your daily thing? Is it going to an office, or is it doing your own thing where you're impacting others, right? Why do you want to make more money, have more love, have a better body, or be in better shape? Why do you want to find self-love again? Or get out of that bad habit? Why? It's always deeper, right? Could be for family, could be for freedom, could be because you want control of your decisions, your time, right? Could be that you want to be a better parent, a better husband, a better wife, a better spouse, a better significant other. I don't know your why, but when you attach your heart to your goal, you become unstoppable. The last piece, if you know where you are and you know where you want to go, if you attach your heart, the last piece is, how are you going to get there? What capabilities do you need to keep your mindset sharp, to never lose your confidence, to stay in the right state of mind, to unleash that inner hero that lives in all of us, to stay happy, abundant, to focus on solutions, to move forward, to not feel like an imposter? What capabilities do you need? When you want to learn something, find somebody who's living the life you want, that truly has the depth and breadth and is willing to create a course, a workshop, a mastermind, gain the capabilities, and make it happen. I've been in the self-education industry for over 24 years, and I want to give you the common denominator of the people that break through and have the greatest year of their life and shift, like fundamentally shift their future forever. You see, they do gain the capabilities, the how, from someone who's already been there. But you have to be careful. Once you get the knowledge, that's not enough. That must be combined with the addiction. Please write this down right now. With the addiction of uncomfortable action. We must get addicted to uncomfortable action. We must get addicted to courageously moving forward. Courage isn't moving forward in the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward even if you're a little scared, even if you've never done it before, even if you feel like an imposter, even if you feel like your friends will think you're crazy, or your family members, or your spouse. That is what we must get addicted to. So the magical combination for success is gaining capabilities from someone who's already been there, someone who's crafted the blueprint, and then shifting your mindset to say, I'm going to go for this. And if I fail, congratulations. That means I'm pushing myself. Because if you haven't failed much, that means you're playing safe. And you don't like safe, or you wouldn't be here right now. And that's the part I missed yesterday. I thought it was so important for you to understand. If you feel uneasy about moving forward, congratulations. If you feel a little nervous, have butterflies about starting the business, scaling the business, doing the sales, doing the marketing, having that conversation with your husband, talking to your children, walking into the gym. If it's making you a little nervous, congratulations. Your next level of life lives on the other side of that uncomfortable action. But again, you want the blueprint and the action, and then it's game over.
I want you to look through the lens of the things we do or the things we could be doing when someone else is watching. So think about it this way. I'm in the happiest relationship of my life. I'm married to my best friend. I think she's the most beautiful woman in the world. I fall more in love with her every day. But that wasn't always the case, and I'm not going to go deep in it because I shared with some of you. I messed up on past relationships. I went through a divorce, and I could say that now because I'm in this great place, but it wasn't fun, especially wasn't fun for my children, right? It scared me to death. I had anxiety, like the worst anxiety I'd ever had in my entire life, like crippling anxiety when I was worried about my kids, and would they be able to adapt, and would they be fragmented, and would they have to be one person for their mom and one person for their dad, and I worried about everything possible. But do you know what the one thing that allowed me to finally make the decision and my ex wanted the relationship over too. It wasn't a one decision. I had lived in the guest room for a long time, and we found out a way to be co-parents, and everybody's got their story, right? But I have to tell you, this question, the question I want to ask you guys and what I'm going to talk about today is, you know the one thing that really made the difference? It had been years, I mean, a whole handful of years, since, at least 5 years, since we gave each other a kiss, held hands, were romantic, slept in the same room, and all those types of things. Listen, I never talked about relationships back then. I talked about business, marketing, impact, sales, personal development. I didn't talk about relationships because mine wasn't so great. We had a good friendship. We never fought. But you know what got me? Is a dear friend of mine said, I gotta ask you something, Dean. I feel like you and the mom of my children, you guys are doing something. You think you're keeping this all together for the children, right? When they grow up, how would you feel if they had the same exact relationship you guys are in? And that freaking floored me. It floored me. She said, you think you'd want your daughter not to be in a relationship where you're friends and there's no hand holding, there's no love, there's no, we go to a restaurant and I sit with one and you sit with the other and all this kind of stuff. And when he said that, I literally went and talked to my ex and shared that with her, and she said, we have to end this. And we figured out a way to do it amicably, and we put the kids first, and she's a dear friend, and thank God, it worked out in a really amazing way for everybody. She's the happiest she's ever been in her life. The happiest, right? And so am I. But I have to tell you, looking through that lens of no more bullshit, do I really want my kids to emulate and be in the same situation? Now my kids get to see their dad in love every day, hold hands every day, kiss every day, walk in the room, and my wife is the most important human being on this planet to me, right? They get to see this connection, and I watch my kids light up when they see their dad holding hands, kissing. They're like always smiling, always laughing, and they see what's possible by example. So I'm sharing that with you because I want to frame this day as, what about in your career? Are you in a job or in something that's not kind of filling your soul or allowing you to make the economic impact on your family that you'd like? But it's good enough. It's okay. I mean, you'll start that business sooner or later. You'll launch KBB when time allows, or you'll get there. But for now, it's okay. And I'm not saying go out and quit, but what I'm saying is, looking through that same lens, would you want your children to be in that same situation? Right? Like the $1 million racehorse. Why is it okay that you want to give everything to your child? I know I do. I want my children to be richer, smarter, better looking, happier, joyful. I want them to be 1,000 times better than me. I want them to go, oh, Dean was 1.0. His kids are 4.0. His grandchildren are 6.0. Oh my God, by the time we get to my great-grandchildren, I want them to make fun of what a pathetic weakling loser I was. Like, that's what I hope, right? If we want that for them so much, and if you're not a parent, it's okay. You can still feel those same emotions. You can understand what we're talking about here. If we want that for them, then why the hell don't we deserve it for us? Right? Like, how do we pierce this heart? How do we pierce this self-doubt? How do we pierce the thinking that we have that got us here? Our best thinking got us right here. It takes another level of thinking, another level of passion, another level of feeling uncomfortable and being disturbed with where you are to move. It's the spaceship. It takes all the energy to get it like 100 feet off the ground. Once it's out of the atmosphere, it hits a little button and goes fast. But it takes all that energy to get off the ground. So my goal in some of my trainings each month is to give you that burst of energy to get done today and go, screw it, I'm freaking doing this. Like, nothing is going to stop me. And I know so many of you are massively successful. This isn't about, oh, you're pathetic and this. It's about where you are. You know there's another level. That's all it is. And it doesn't mean that it's never enough. Listen, God didn't put us on this earth to settle. I think at the end of our life, if we have the opportunity to talk to our maker, he's not going to say, I'm so glad you found your groove at 24 years old and kind of settled for another 70 years. Like, that's not what he wants. That's not what we're designed for. I always say Dale Carnegie's quote, my favorite one by him. He said, the biggest plight of the human race is knowing you have more potential and you're not using it. Like, you say that, you're like, yeah, yes, right? So how do we trick ourselves into knowing that we deserve this? We deserve to take uncomfortable action, to fail forward and to figure it out. Because if you think about that,
how are we with, I know this is far away from business and stuff, but how are we with kind of our inner peace? Like making amends with ourselves. We help our kids solve problems. We help our kids not have regrets. We help our kids not have enemies or let go of pain. Like maybe I'm wrong, but like wherever we are, we want what's best for them. We know, we've studied it. Well, simultaneously, internally, you might be fighting with yourself and still have that person that you need to forgive, or forgive yourself for the mistakes in the past, or forgive yourself for procrastinating, or forgive yourself that you were scared up to this point, or forgive yourself that you screwed up the relationship. It was you. We want our kids to forgive themselves. We want them to forgive others. We want them to work on being grateful and having gratitude. And simultaneously, we wake up sometimes and our guts are spinning while we're helping someone else. Is it true? So if that's the case, why are we waiting to fix this in the next generation? You got a lot of years left on this earth. Let's fix it with us. Remember, like, just think, this is what I try to do all the time is, if I stay this way, my kids are going to be that way. I literally punish myself that way. Because if I stay this way, they're going to be this way. There's nothing I can do to change it, right? Another thing I wrote down is like, who are we when no one's watching? Like, we think we can put this facade on in front of our children, right? It could be children, it could be spouse, it could be partner, it could be friends. But we get to put this face on in front of other people, right? But then who are we when no one's around? Because I still believe our kids become who we are when no one's around. I think kids are the biggest lie detector, bullshit detector, excuse my language. Like, they just feel who you are and they become it. I want to tell you, because I obsess on communication, because I know my wife, because I love being in love. I love the fact that my wife still looks at me every morning like it's the first week we met. It is the most magical thing I could ever share with anyone. I walk in a room, if my wife looks at me, she looks at me a way that takes my knees out. She still looks at me like I'm the greatest human she's ever seen. And I feel so blessed, and it just makes me mirror that back to her. But I'm gonna tell you a little something. My wife's a badass. She had her own business when I met her. She was voted the top hairstylist in Arizona, 8 out of 10 years. She has her own business right next door. It's not easy being married to me because I am like a steamroller, and life because my business has gotten so big and my schedule is so nuts, a lot of life has to revolve around me. I hate to say it, but it's true. I travel a lot. I have to go and speak. I'm partners with my partner, Tony Robbins. I help also run Tony's company and the company we own together and my own company. And I own over 100 different houses, and I have a real estate division. And I'm writing a new book. And I want to be a good dad to my older children. And man, a lot of life revolves around me. So you marry a powerful, amazing woman who's used to having her freedom, control of her time, control of her business, control of everything. And all of a sudden you marry a man who's like, you're like, hey, it's like, no, babe, we're jumping on a plane. I got a deal to close in Malibu. Or I got to go down to Florida and talk to Tony. And I want to tell you, my wife's business is amazing. But in comparison, my wife has a great year. It could be hundreds and hundreds of thousands. I have a great year. It's tens of millions of dollars. So there's sometimes, I'm being really personal now. I want to tell you why communication is so important. She could say, hey, babe, but I was going to do this thing. And in my head, I'm like, you're going to do a $500 hair extension thing that you want to do. I'm going to close a $20 million deal. Scrap that, get on the plane, we're out of here, right? Those are some of the things I know I did in previous relationships. Mine's bigger, mine's more important. It's about me. Be happy, we're wealthy, you get to have freedom. Jump on the plane, do what the hell I say. Can you see how, as a guy, that's easy to just say, I got this, I'm working, I got this, hon, don't even worry. You never have to work again, close your shop. Close it down, we don't need it. That's how my previous self thought of things. Just being honest, this is how we grow. But now I have to think about that all the time. And I make compromises and I communicate with her in a way as a babe, what you did is absolutely amazing. And if you want me to shift that, I'll move my meeting. And we adjust and we communicate, and she'll have the nerve to come to me and say, babe, all last month it was all about you. Can I work on a little bit? I'm like, oh my God, did I do that to you? All right, tell me. And we'll communicate and we'll talk. I want to tell you in my 30s, it would have been like, mine is multimillionaire, yours is peanuts, my way or the highway, without even realizing I was saying that. Can you guys understand? I'm not a bad human. I didn't ever think I was doing things. I thought I was working hard for my family. It's like, I'm talking about leaving legacy. I want to make sure my children and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren are protected. And I have you guys to worry about in my Project Next family and self-education family and my partnerships. I have so much to worry about. It's me. How do you think my relationship would be with my wife if it was all about me? How do you think it would be when I walked in a room if I squashed her dreams and her desires and just made it all about me and didn't communicate? I'm just telling you, the communication skills you think you have right now that are good, they could be better. Because if you would have asked me in my 40s about if I was a good communicator, I would have said, one of the best in the world because I can close deals. Great. I also went through a divorce in my 40s. How good of a communicator was I? You got to hear this. Most everybody listening right now, you've already surpassed the goals or dreams that you had for yourself when you were a kid. Even if you're not as far along as you think you would have been, I guarantee if you went back to your 17-year-old self and shared where you are, the things you've accomplished, the things you've done, the places you've traveled, the success you have, you're like, oh my God, we did all that. So when I say stretch, it doesn't mean that you haven't already done it or you've done it a million times. But here's the thing, when you stretch, when you get to a point where you think you've arrived or your brain thinks we've got here, I think that's the part where people get lost because it's like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? What to do next? And I look at it, I have simple analogies, Ed. You grew up in the East Coast, so did I. And a lot of people don't know about lighthouses, light towers out in the middle of the water, especially off of Massachusetts, right? I picture, what was a lighthouse for, right? That was either to guide the ships to stay away from a certain area or to bring the ships in when it was foggy and the ships were out catching fish, and you'd see a light tower and, you know, the man that's in the light tower and is there for a purpose. It was a guide. Well, I have a light tower in my head, and what I say is, for me, that is my compelling future. Like my light tower, what am I driving for? Why do I still get up? Why do I still wake up at 5:30? I don't have to work anymore. I feel blessed. To say that from where I came from means a lot. It's not being braggadocious. It's like I could quit. But what would be left? We grow, we find happiness and joy under that stretching, right? If we're going to use that as our model. But think about this. If you've already reached your lighthouse, if it was out in front of you and you got the relationship, you found the money, you got the job, you built the career, you raised amazing children, you're standing right next to your lighthouse. You're there and you don't know what to do. What I always think about on a regular basis, I know I'm using a simple analogy, is you got to take the lighthouse and you got to carry and put it 100 yards in front of you at all times in life. Mm-hmm. Because you need to be going towards that. You got to be working to get there. Now, here's the thing. What you have to realize is your goals, and I know I'm telling you stuff a lot of times you already know. I want to be a reminder service today. Mm-hmm. But the goals you had in your 20s, what success meant for you was completely different in your 30s. And what goals and what desires you had in your 30s are different than 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s. So we have to recalculate what success means to us. We have to throw away what doesn't serve us anymore, recalculate what success is, attach it to that lighthouse and put it out 100 yards and fight for it like you fought for your first 100 grand. Fight for it like you fought for your first relationship. And I've just found a way personally, and I know you have in your own way, Ed, is I fight to get to that lighthouse like I'm broke, like I'm in a bad relationship, like my kids are all hosed up. Like I don't look at, I'm a good dad. I look at it like if I don't become a better dad tomorrow, are my kids going to live fulfilled lives? I look at it as I have the most amazing relationship. I know you, Ed, you and I have had those conversations. I don't have an Instagram marriage. I'm in love with my wife. I fall in love with her more every day. I'd rather get shot in the head than be unfaithful to my wife. She's my everything. But if I just keep her as the lighthouse right next to me, I will take it for granted. I won't keep that spark. When I walk in a room, my wife looks at me like I'm the hottest guy on the planet, that she's not seen a man in 10 years. Still to this day, I get chills as I'm telling you. I walk in a room, my wife makes me feel so amazing, guys. If you've never felt that, work hard for it. It's like I'm candy to her. I don't even know why. Sometimes like, babe, you're so beautiful. Why? But I love it so much that I don't take it for granted. I stick it out. That relationship, I put it 100 yards out, and every day I'm fighting to be a better man. How do I listen more? How do I live into her heart? How do I support her as a mom or support in the business that she has? But I do that with business too. If I've accomplished this, and I want to tell you, in my 20s, I ran away from a really we have similar backgrounds. I didn't have money. My mom worked 3 jobs to make I lived in a bathroom for a while with my dad. I was running away from pain. I was disturbed with inaction. I was disturbed the way my parents lived, and I ran away from that. I'm not running away from pain anymore. Financially, I'm fine, so why do I still get up and fight? Because now I've taken that lighthouse, and for me personally, is I want to serve people at the highest level. I want to contribute to this earth. I want to help people that just need a hand up, not a handout. I want to partner with great people and be friends, Ed and Tony Robbins and great people like that to really impact the world. I'll probably give most of my money to charity. So I'm not fighting for another dollar, but I've moved the lighthouse in my head. I'm like, how do I help to impact 100 million lives? And I fight for it like it's not going to happen. So that might be a crazy analogy, but I moved the lighthouse to be a better dad. I moved the lighthouse to be a better husband. And I wake up every day like, damn, I got a lot of ground to make up. That lighthouse is freaking 2 miles out. Hear me on that. You must. Who we surround ourselves is who we become. That's not my saying. That's been around since the beginning of time. It's a fact. So, who will you listen to, learn from, and who will you be persuaded by? Find those that are living life where you want to live and model it. Listen, today, I'm sharing what I've learned over 30 years of going after it. I've failed miserably. I've had an ulcer in my life. I went through a divorce. I've had panic attacks. I've had anxiety attacks. I went broke once, all the way down to nothing. Had to sell the house I was living in. But I've also found real love in my life. If you guys follow me on Instagram, my wife and I don't have an Instagram relationship. I'm married to the love of my life. I fall more in love every day. My wife's here today. When she came in today, I see her. It's 5 years we've been together. She walks in a room, I feel like I'm 12 years old and I'm in love with my best friend. I love being a dad. I live in the house of my dreams. I get to fly on my own plane. I get to do all this cool stuff. I have 15 different companies. And last year we fed 7 million people through Feeding America. Last year we built 2 schools in Africa. Last year I donated $600,000 of my own money to help kids in slavery through Operation Underground Railroad. And that's only some of the things we've done. I don't say that to brag. I say that because that was a kid who lived in a trailer park, who lived in a bathroom with his dad, who didn't go past high school, who got made fun of, who had parents who struggled terribly. I'm not saying, look what I've done, magic. I'm just saying what's possible when you shift the outcome, when you decide to follow people who've already done it. Model people that, if you want to play great tennis, I don't care if your Aunt Edna watched every tennis match for the last 40 years. If she's never played, never won, never failed, you can't take advice from Aunt Edna. You could give her a kiss and bring her some flowers and go find someone who used to play tennis or plays tennis better than you and let them raise your bar, raise your standards, raise what you're willing to accept for yourself and for your family. Hear me on that. You must. Who we surround ourselves is who we become. That's not my saying. That's been around since the beginning of time. It's a fact. So, who will you listen to, learn from, and who will you be persuaded by? Find those that are living life where you want to live and model it. Listen, today, I'm sharing what I've learned over 30 years of going after it. I've failed miserably. I've had an ulcer in my life. I went through a divorce. I've had panic attacks. I've had anxiety attacks. I went broke once, all the way down to nothing. Had to sell the house I was living in. But I've also found real love in my life. If you guys follow me on Instagram, my wife and I don't have an Instagram relationship. I'm married to the love of my life. I fall more in love every day. My wife's here today. When she came in today, I see her. It's 5 years we've been together. She walks in a room, I feel like I'm 12 years old and I'm in love with my best friend. I love being a dad. I live in the house of my dreams. I get to fly on my own plane. I get to do all this cool stuff. I have 15 different companies. Last year we fed 7 million people through Feeding America. Last year we built 2 schools in Africa. Last year I donated $600,000 of my own money to help kids in slavery through Operation Underground Railroad. And that's only some of the things we've done. I don't say that to brag. I say that because that was a kid who lived in a trailer park, who lived in a bathroom with his dad, who didn't go past high school, who got made fun of, who had parents who struggled terribly. I'm not saying, look what I've done, magic. I'm just saying what's possible when you shift the outcome, when you decide to follow people who've already done it. Model people that, if you want to play great tennis, I don't care if your Aunt Edna watched every tennis match for the last 40 years. If she's never played, never won, never failed, you can't take advice from Aunt Edna. You could give her a kiss and bring her some flowers and go find someone who used to play tennis or plays tennis better than you and let them raise your bar, raise your bar, raise your standards, raise what you're willing to accept for yourself and for your family.
Think about even the little, what do you call them, parables? I don't know, no it's not, like phrases we heard when we were young. Look before you leap. But then there's another one that says, he who hesitates loses. We're like, do I look? Do I jump? What do I do? Here's what I'm gonna tell you from my personal experience. I wrote this down for you guys. Get guided action. Learn from those playing the game at the highest level possible. But do less thinking and more doing. I'm not saying, now, let me be very clear. I'm not talking about trial and error without the knowledge. Trial and error without knowledge is like running on a treadmill and turning it from 5 to 7. You're going faster, but you're not accomplishing anything. Learn from those who've already been there. Get a mentor. Learn from me if you want the stuff that I'm good at. Learn from, if you want to lose weight, find the best weight loss person. If you want to get in shape, find the best getting you in shape person. Learn from them, take guided information, and then just take action. How many times, how long are you going to stand on the sidelines waiting for everything to be perfect? It's never going to be. It's never going to be the right time. It's never going to be a time when you're not scared. You have to find courage. Rob courage from the past, because I already know if you're watching me right now, you've already been courageous in the past. You already had stuff that scared the heck out of you and you still move forward. You already failed miserably and thought your life would never rebound, and it did. You've been courageous. Rob that courage from the past and take action today. Implement that courage into the present. In relationships and business. So I wrote, so obtain the knowledge you need to build confidence. But then don't get bogged down in endless questions, second thoughts, and circular analysis. If your heart is telling you to act, if your subconscious is telling you to go for it, stop overthinking and start taking action. How many places in that area, how many areas of your life does that apply? Start taking action. Start failing. Start figuring out what not to do if you have to. Learn from your action. Get in the game. You can't score a touchdown in the game of life if you're on the sidelines thinking, well, if they have the ball, should I play defense or should I play offense? I know, should I be a wide receiver or should I be a, I mean, I'm using football analogies and I don't even know football that well, but should I be a lineman or maybe a quarterback? Or maybe I should play tomorrow's game because I'll be more prepared tomorrow. You know, I should read up tonight on how to play football at the best level. In fact, I have a friend that's really good at football. I see him in about a month. So when I see him, I'll ask him. And then maybe I could play a game. Well, by then, the season will be over. So maybe I could start next season. You know what I'll do? I'll eat better and I'll start working out. So by the time next season comes, I'll be in better shape and I'll have worked out and I'll have eaten better. And then I'll have read that book and I'll talk to my friend. And next season will be perfect. Next season. But see how life goes? That's what we can do. That's overthinking. That's paralysis caused by overanalysis. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. A lot of times that's just your subconscious wimping out and giving you excuses to push off your courage to take action. You know when you should take action? Now. Not tomorrow, not next month, not next year. Now.
If everything you tried in life, if everything you do went easy, you wouldn't respect it. You wouldn't want it. You wouldn't desire it. Anyone you know that got their first car for free without working for it, they either crashed it or it's dirty or they don't appreciate it. If you know people who paid for their own college compared to those who their father or their mother paid for it and they never had any repercussions, the ones that paid for it in so many cases fight for it because every word, every teacher, every classroom costs them hard-earned money. People who don't pay attention. People who don't work hard for something they want don't get the results. So don't look for the easy button in life, because I don't know anybody who's had the easy road. I'm 50. I had friends that I knew that were trust fund children. You guys aren't going to be trust fund children. You guys can work for opportunity. I have trust fund people that I know. I'm sorry that, and if you are one and you're successful and happy on the inside, I just haven't met you yet. But I have yet to meet a trust fund baby grown into an adult that's fulfilled or found peace. I know a lot of them that are partiers. I know a lot of them that throw the best parties on the planet. I know a lot of them that go through drugs in and out. I know a lot of them that go through relationships in and out. I know a lot of them that throw fundraisers and find God, and then they steer away from God, and then they find yoga, and then they find meditation, and they're always searching because everything was so damn easy. When you were a kid, you wanted it easy. You didn't want to do the chores. You didn't want to clean your room. You didn't want to do it. But those that are willing to put the work in, those that aren't so soft, those that aren't feeling bad for themselves because they had to work, those that realize if you want it, you got to fight for it. Guys, that's the next level of happiness. Fighting, struggling, going through the hard times is what allow you to appreciate the good times. The reason I appreciate you guys, my family, so much is because when I was young, I didn't have that family. The reason I appreciate abundance and wealth so much because I didn't have any. The reason I love to cook and go grocery shopping still is because there was no groceries in my refrigerator when I was young. So you don't get to appreciate the good unless you fight for the hard. So this is my challenge to you right now. Fight for it. Go the hard route. If there's an easy path and an easy button, it's always, in most cases, it's wrapped with something else. It's wrapped with an agenda. It's wrapped with circumstances. It's wrapped with failure because you're looking for the easy way. Be educated about it. Model other people that are already doing it. Don't be overly risky when you can learn from others, and take the path, even if it's hard, if at the end of that path is your full potential or next level potential, and you on the journey towards discovering who you really are.
If you don't have a big enough want, a big enough why that you're fighting for, then all of it becomes monotonous. All of it becomes questionable. All of it becomes this thing that you just don't know where you're going. You look in the mirror and say, why do I want more? And I want to give you a little answer, or something to intrigue you today while I'm on my walk. Listen, thanks for coming with me on a walk. If you're listening to this, maybe it's not the perfect audio, but I hope it's a message that sinks into your soul. Because these are the things I wish someone would have given to me at an earlier age. Listen, I've been a study of personal development, a study of success, obsessed by it because I wanted to run away from a painful childhood, a broke childhood, watching my parents struggle. And in that journey, or along that journey, from reading books, from starting 13 different companies, through going through a divorce in my life, going through stressful times, and now being in the most fabulous time of my life, in my 50s, I realized the little things are the big things. In fact, the little things are everything. According to my dear friend Randy Garn, he told me that ages ago, and now I know it to be true. So again, I'm going to go back to that question. What do you stand for? So what's that mean? Let me just share my day yesterday. I want to tell you how crazy my day was yesterday. We have a live event, our company and my partner Tony Robbins' company and my multiple companies, we all work together to do a lot of things around the world. Yesterday we had an event going on when I'm recording this in the Australian time zone. Rocking it for Aussies. Tony was crushing it, and I spoke yesterday, all these great things, okay? But while this was going on a Sunday, I want to give you my morning. I woke up early, did a workout, got up about 4:45, did a workout, answered all my emails, got text messages, set the day up, did my little morning routine, and then I made my kids breakfast. My kids got up. Now, I have the most amazing wife in the world, by the way, who would make breakfast and do all these things. But I'm going to share something with you. This is going to make sense. This is not just about my busy life. There's a reason behind all of it. Got up early, made my kids breakfast. I took my daughter. She met a new friend, and my daughter wanted to go to a church, a kind of a youth group that she was testing out. So she met a new friend. I dropped her off at about 8:45 in the morning. She was going to breakfast with a new friend. I think the girl's in 12th grade. My daughter's in 9th. They went to breakfast, and they were going off to this new church. So that was cool. I raced back, grabbed my son. We had to run to pick some stuff up for his baseball. He wanted to practice a little because it was going to be his first time pitching in a baseball game in many years. He used to pitch, and now he's practicing again. He's getting back in the game of pitching. So we practice pitching. As we practice pitching, I race back when my daughter's done, and I grab her.
We come back. I drop my daughter off. I take my son, and we drive about 40 minutes to where his game was. I dropped my son off. I hadn't even had time to shower yet, so I dropped him off because he practiced first. I'll tell you why I'm doing this. Drop him off because he had practice first. I race back home and take a shower. In the meantime, my daughter wanted to grab lunch with me. She goes, "You think we could squeeze in lunch, Dad?" Absolutely. We go grab a quick lunch. I drop her off at a friend's house. I race back up, and I watch my son play a doubleheader in 105-degree weather. Sweating, yeah, just sweating. Just picture what 105 is. And I was there for him pitching. I was there for him to get a hit. I was there for him when he didn't do so great, and he needed my support. I get done pitching, or my son gets done with that. In between, I'm running a live event in Australia, help running it. It's not on me. We have the most amazing team in the world, but I'm there answering questions, getting things done, making sure it's on phone calls. I'm waiting until my son's not up and walk kind of behind the trees and take a phone call and send some messages. I get done, grab my son. I call my wife, who's with my daughter and my little boy Luca, and I said, "Hey, we haven't been together. Let's meet at this great little Italian restaurant and have a nice Sunday dinner together." My wife calls me. I'm leaving the field with my son. My wife calls, and my son Luca, who's a year and a half old, is having a complete mental breakdown in the car, screaming like crazy. He's in the back seat, and they can't console him. And luckily, my little boy and I have this incredible bond. I said, "The heck with it. Park alongside the street. I'll come get you right now." I drove to where my wife was, parked my car, jumped in with her, consoled my son, and we drove to the Italian restaurant. We had an amazing meal together. We get done with our meal. I realized that day I'd spend so much time with kids. I haven't given my wife enough love, so I did something that really always makes her smile. I took the receipt when she wasn't looking, the extra receipt when you pay your bill, and I wrote her a little love note and told her how much I love her, which is true. I'm so proud of that woman and what she does. And I wrote her a little love note and stuck it in her back pocket as we were getting in the car. We get home last night, helped my son finish some homework that he didn't get done, went to bed, got up at 4:30 this morning. Now, I'm telling you this for a reason. Got up at 4:30 this morning, made their lunches for school today, and now I'm taking a walk talking to you. Now, today, it'll be rinse and repeat. Today, I'll drive them both, I'll make them breakfast, I'll drive them both to school, I'll pick them both up from school. At 4 o'clock, I'll be catching for my daughter as she has softball practice. And tonight, my son wants to practice out in the backyard. Okay, so why all that? Because I also run 3 different companies and have hundreds of employees that rely on me. I try to be a good team leader and partner to those that work with me that are like family to me. I try my best to be a damn good husband, and I try to be someone that delivers quality content to you, those of you who would take the time to watch this video or listen to me. So why is all that important to you? You're like, great, you had a busy day. I have a busy day. I have kids, and we all do stuff. So big deal, Dean. I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm in a place where I can afford for someone to drive my kids around. I have personal assistants. We have someone that helps with our house. We have someone that could help with kids. So why the heck would I do all those things? Because I asked you earlier, what do you stand for? And here's what I know. At this age of my life, I have defined success down to the granular piece. In my life, I don't golf. I don't go to fundraisers. I don't go to parties. I don't go to happy hour. I barely go to dinner with any other couples. I don't hunt. I don't fish. I don't do much of anything. And it's going to sound like, oh, boring life. No, I know what happiness means to me, and not you. I know what it means to me. To me, I want to be the best husband a man could ever be. I've messed up in the past. I'm not messing up this time. My wife looks at me like I'm the greatest thing on this planet, and I am never going to stop that look. I am going to do what it takes to become a better human, a better man, so that woman continues to love me. I know at the end of my life, that's number one. Number two, I know at the end of my life, I'm going to ask myself, did I do everything in my power to be around my kids, to understand them, to know them, to be on their level, to have real, deep, and transparent communication? Now that my 2 older ones are going through teenage years and my daughter's in high school, I know I need to be emotionally connected to them.
When somebody tells me money doesn't buy happiness, I'm sorry, I'm going to say one bad word today. Bullshit. Bullshit. Money can serve in such a great way. Money is bad when people do bad things with it. Money can be amazing when you do the right thing. What I'm telling you today, and this is not what I thought I was going to share, put your oxygen mask on first. That's what you need to do. You need to take uncomfortable action. You need to push yourself. If you're a part of our mastermind family, welcome, be here. Push yourself. Stop waiting for someone else to do it. Take uncomfortable action. Do the things you need to do, even if it's at your own pace. You don't have to be Roger Rabbit going 100 miles an hour, but you gotta move forward. Don't wait. No one's coming to do this for you. Whatever you have, whatever capabilities, whatever part of our company you are, or anything you're doing, if you really want to make a difference, if you want to be in that place where you can have your oxygen mask on first, I'm going to be really honest with you. It's not easy. I've doubted myself a million times. I felt like an imposter a million times. I've had my own family look me in the eye and say, stop being a dreamer, Dean. That's for other people. You didn't go to college. We don't come from that kind of money. You'll never be that. They don't say that when I land my own jet in my hometown and my whole family gets off my own plane. Right? I don't say that to be a jerk. You don't even see me. Did you ever see me post a picture of my plane on my Instagram? I'm not the guy that holds up money or shows you in my plane or my house that's the house of my dreams. I don't do that. I don't want people to follow me because I hold stacks of money on a Facebook ad, right? I want people to know me for the heart I have. But I'm blessed to have more success than I ever could have dreamed possible. And I get to take care of the people I love. I got to put my own oxygen mask on years ago, and now I put it on a lot more people than you'd ever know. That's not all I donate to. We've done it in a lot of different areas. And this year, I want to donate, I don't know about the feelings you have, but who felt that in their heart when I shared what I was able to do? Right? Who in here has a desire to help other people once you're secure? Can I share something with you? And I want to share this today because it just feels on my heart. I'm going to tell you to be selfish. Be selfish. Be selfish for the next 3 years. Go get yourself strong. Go put your own oxygen mask on. Put some money in the bank. Crush your company. Be selfish with your time. Be selfish with your income. Be greedy on the amount of money you want to make. I'm telling you, be greedy, be selfish. You know why? Because if you go all in, if you stop thinking, I wish I could do more, be more, go all in and make the money. Get secure and put your oxygen mask on, and what you can do in 5 years from now, what you can do in 7 years from now, what you could do in 12 years from now is unbelievable. But we need this moment of us. We need this moment of getting ourselves. So many of you I see right now are the most giving people you've ever, anyone knows. You're the person that gives the most. You know what you're doing? You're putting oxygen masks on everybody else and you can barely breathe. You're out there helping everybody. Let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And you're barely breathing. You're like, here's an oxygen mask. Here's an oxygen mask. When you need to hold it to your face. I love the story of Andrew Carnegie, right? What did Andrew Carnegie at a certain pace in his life? You know what he said? I'm going to spend the first half of my life making a ton of money. And I'm going to spend the second half of my life giving it all away.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome. For 10 more amazing rules from Brendan Burchard, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Make a development plan. You are the learning development officer in your life. Not someone in HR, not your old teachers, you are. If I parachuted into your house today,